my name is Maria Adrián. I'm an industrial engineer. I work in the technical support department at CYPE. And today I'm very excited about showing you AcouBAT by CYPE. Everybody's ready. I'm going to start now because we have an hour and I have so many things to tell. I'll explain. First of all, we are going to start explaining what is the aim of AcouBAT by CYPE. Then I'm going to explain the workflow that we have to use in order to use AcouBAT by CYPE. Because although AcouBAT by CYPE is a standalone program, the program needs an architectural model, or more actually an analytical model. So you don't draw in that program. So how do you get this analytical model? That's what I'm going to explain later. Then the next step will be explain how to download the programs and how to access the learning resources, because there's plenty of information about the programs. And then when we have finished that theoretical part, that will be short, we'll do real examples, in fact, 2 study cases. The first one will be starting from CYPE architecture and continue with OpenBIM analytical model, and then finish in AcouBAT by CYPE. Then the second case study will be starting from Ifc Builder, and then directly continue in AcouBAT by CYPE. And then after that, I'll answer all your questions. You can ask the questions during the seminar. You know that in GoToWebinar, there's a chat part and also an answers and questions part. So be free to write whenever you want, and I'll answer in the middle, during, or at the end, depending. Okay? So having said this, let's start. What is the aim of AcouBAT by CYPE? AcouBAT by CYPE is a tool developed by CYPE, our company, and also the CSTB, which is the Scientific and Technical Center for Building, with the aim of helping users study the insulation and acoustic conditioning of buildings. It calculates the indices that evaluate the insulation of airborne sound, indoor and outdoor, impact on insulation, and reverberation level in indoor spaces, in accordance with the procedure contained in this European norm and ISO 12354 2017 code. This is the method used. But which standards or codes do we use? We have a presetting of those standards you see here: Spanish, French, from Italy and Brazil. And what I suppose is more important for the audience of today, there are also customized standards. This means that the user can personalize the text that he or she wants to make in the building. So that's what I try to explain later. Okay, that it's really a very flexible program in terms of the text that you can make. Then the part, let's explain the workflow. As I said, the program needs an analytical model. So before explaining the analytical model, we have to go to the previous step, which is the architectural model. How do we get an architectural model? This model could be, for example, could come from Revit. So if that's the case, if we have started with Revit, we have a free tool, which is called the plugin OpenBIM Revit, which allows us to start a project from there. So you can download the plugin from our platform and start a project from Revit. Then, if you use programs as Allplan, ArchiCAD, or others, any program that generates an IFC4, you can start the project with Ifc Builder, which is also a free tool. And this could be the case if the model is already finished. If you want to model from scratch with our tools, you could use, for example, CYPE, which is a very, very interesting tool, and I'll show you later. So that's, in a nutshell, how to get the architectural model. Then, some of our tools can work directly with the architectural model. For example, our plumbing programs or our programs for sprinklers, etc. But if we need to analyze thermally or acoustically a building, we need an analytical model. The good news is that we have a tool, another application, in this case called OpenBIM Analytical Model, that converts the architectural model into an analytical model. So just by using this tool, very simple tool, we can convert from here to an analytical model, which can be used perfectly directly from Acoubat by CYPE or CYPE Plus if it's a thermal simulation. Okay, so this is this scheme explains a bit with more detail what I said before. Okay, so this is the main character. What we are going to talk about today is Acoubat by CYPE. But as you see, there are a lot of arrows which explain how you can start or from this program. As I said, we start with an architectural model. If, for example, we have worked with Ifc Builder, we can go directly to Acoubat by CYPE. Then other ways are if we have used CYPE architecture, or we start from Revit using the plugin, or we have uploaded one any IFC from IFC uploader. Then the next step is to use OpenBIM Analytical Model, and then we can continue here. Okay, so that's very important. The analytical model that this application receives, and also this program can read information from other of our programs. For example, HVAC a programs for the calculation of ducts, HVAC hydraulic calculation of the pipes between fan coils and other generators. And also, we can read the constructed systems, the labels of the different construction elements, and the water equipment from this program, from OpenBIM water equipment. And well, once we have finished the analysis, we can export the results to BIMserver.center, the platform. So now let's go to the step of how to download the programs. Okay, it's important that you get familiar with that platform. It's very simple to enter. You just need to remember BIMserver.center and choose in the flag English, in your case. Okay, just by doing this, you can access to a lot of information. Here in the store, okay, if we press here in acoustic analysis, here you can see the program we are going to talk about today, Acoubat by CYPE. Here you have the option to download the program. In this case, in order to download the program, you need to register. Okay, the moment you press here, the program will ask you to, the platform will ask you to log in. Okay, of course, the registration is totally free. But even in that situation, here I'm not registered. I'm going to show you how it is possible to access to all the information about the program. Here, if you click here in the website, you will be able to access to quite detailed information about the program. I'm talking about the standards applied, the different magnitudes used, and Windows informing about the different steps that you should. Okay, today I'm going to try to cover most of them, but here are more. There is more information. Okay, so I advise you to take a look at that. As I said, first you have the detailed information and also learning resources, which is a number of videos, tutorials, webinars that have been held before. So there's plenty of information. Okay, so that's about the process of downloading. It's the same with any other tool. For example, remember I said about a very popular tool, which is the plugin for BIM Revit. Only by clicking here, I click in free because this is a free tool. If I click here, you can access to the program, the explanation, and all of that. Okay, the same situation. Okay, so if everybody's ready, we are going to do the first case. As a little reminder, this is what we are going to do now. Okay, this is one way you could start a project. For example, we create a project in BIMserver.center, our platform. Then we model the building in CYPE architecture. Then we export to a platform in order to continue using OpenBIM analytical model. And then we export and continue in Aquabat Library. This is what we are going to do now. I'll show you how to do this. Okay. Here now. Previously, I was showing how the platform looks when you are not logged. But now I'm going to show you my account. Here, this is my account in BIMserver.center. I have a number of projects. For example, the one we are going to talk about today is this one. I started the project here in BIMserver.center, and so for that reason, here in content, I have the architectural model. Okay, the process of creating a new project is very, very easy. Here, create new project, and you give the name, invite more users if you need them, you need collaborators, I mean, etc. Okay, very, very easy. In this case, I'm going to work with a already created project because I prefer to focus today in the program Aquabat Library. Okay, so the name of this project is Case Study 1 Final. Okay, so now let's open CYPE Architecture. Here I have the building which we have modeled in this program. This model, as you see here, is linked to the project Case Study 1 Final. Okay, this is thanks to the synchronizer. Always when you install the program, you can install at the same time the synchronizer. Make sure this is working perfectly with the green tick. So this is the method. This is my user in BIMserver.center, and I can have a number of projects that will be available in the different applications. You will see later how to link the files to a project. Okay. So, but in this case, I hope everybody is understood this part. We are working in a file of CYPE architecture, which is linked to the project case study 1 final. This program is a very powerful tool for, I would say, for users, preferably for users that are starting from the sketch, when they are in the process of thinking the building, because you can draw similarly to SketchUp or a program like that, starting with the shape of the building, only thinking about the distributions and this kind of thing, and then you can convert from the sketch to the architecture. This is one, you could work like that, or you could work directly inserting the architectural elements in the model. This is a pure 3D program. As you see here, we can work directly from the 3D views. Or, for example, in this case, we have some floor views. For example, imagine we are in this floor view for this level, and I could create a new, for example, a new partition. I just want to show you how to work with this tool. Imagine I forgot that there is a little internal partition here. How could I insert it? I can adhere to construction elements, vertical elements, a wall. I choose the type of here, the type of element I want. This will be important. The name, okay. We will work with AcouBAT side with working with the labels. Well, imagine this is an internal partition. Let's choose the colors of things, and I could work in the model directly. Imagine this is fine, and in that direction, 1 meter. And here it is. If I have inserted the element, I could work like, I'm sorry. I didn't save the chain. I want to show you sorry, because I'm interested in showing you how to work in another view. So let me finish, please. Like that. Okay, right button. Remember to press the right button. You cannot see my keyboard, but always in order to finish whatever you are doing, always you have to press the right button to finish. Okay, so I have inserted this wall. I could continue doing more things, but what I wanted to show you is that this program allows us to work like that in 3D, or you can also use a projection if you feel more comfortable that way. That is my case, for example. I prefer working with this, working like that. So imagine what we just did is this. So, for example, we could do another one. Continue with the model, but as I could use a template example. In this case, we did DWG or DXF template in order to be drawing. And anyway, that doesn't matter if we're working in this projection, the result will be in 3D anyway. Okay, so that's more or less. This is a very short explanation of CYPE architecture, okay, but just a brief explanation of what is possible to do here. So what is going to, maybe a little comment about this, when we create the different elements, constructive elements, they have a label, and this can be consulted here in typology of the architectural elements. This is quite important to be aware of. What I mean is that, for example, for the walls, we have this type of walls with these names. This is the modeler gave the different element these names, and this, for example, EF15, for the meaning the thick external facade 15 centimeters, for example. This is the name of the typology, and this will be read in AcouBAT by CYPE. So that's quite important to give the correct names, so we don't get lost in the process. Okay, so this could be the name of these are the names of the architectural element, the walls. I mean, in this example, if I have the floor slabs, for example, they have these labels and this. Okay, so this is quite important. And if it's necessary, we'll come back here. Okay, but well, as a little comment, these are the labels of the constructive elements, and also about this talking about the spaces. We could, for example, this is something I like doing. When I'm in the 3D view, it is possible to select or unselect certain parts of the certain layers. And for example, we could make visible only the spaces. So this is something important because this is what is going to be the name of the spaces. Will be exported to BIMserver.center and read in OpenBIM Analytical model, for example. Okay, so this is a little comment. In fact, here we have created different views. Let's select everything again. But I always like doing this because if I don't know, if, for example, I don't remember where a certain space is, with this view, only selecting the spaces layer, I can easily see if it's the kind of space that it is or where the distribution of the floor plan. Okay, so I think that's, for the moment, that's enough information about CYPE architecture. Here, as I, so that we have even created different views, it's a very powerful tool, I think, CYPE architecture. Well, once we have done this, the next step from here is to share. Okay, we share to the project, and continue in another tool. I already did that. I did previously. So what I'm going to do now we have completed the model in CYPE architecture. The next step will be to use OpenBIM Analytical model. This is, I think, I'm going to spend some minutes with this because even in these other cases, if you come from Revit, ArchiCAD or Allplan, you have to use OpenBIM Analytical model. So in any case, this application will be important for you. So let me show you. I'm going to open the program, OpenBIM Analytical model, and then I'm going to create a new file. Here, let's call it demo, for example. And the most important part is not the name of the file, but the connection with the project. I'm going to connect with case study 1. Okay, because this will let me read the architectural model that I created in CYPE architecture. Here in the step button, this is the name I gave to the architectural model. This is reading. Okay, let's select. This is right. I want to use this as an initiator. Okay, so what I have here is this is empty. This doesn't have spaces or surfaces or edges or anything. So what I have to do now, very important, is to use this button, generate analytical model. I press everything selected, I accept, and this moment is very important. While we do this, I want to create a little comment about something. In our platform, in BIMserver.center, there's a lot of information. Not only, well, by the way, here in statistics, you can get an idea of how popular a platform is now, the number of downloaded applications, how many users we have, etc. Okay. And besides that, what I really wanted to show you now was the blog. Here, we can press the blog and have access to a lot of information, of course, in English, if needed. Let me change it, please. By default in Spanish. So here it is, okay? We change it to English. And what I wanted to show you is there are interesting articles about what is an analytical model. If it's what I want to do, okay, the fact that this includes the external surfaces, internal surfaces, edges. I'm going to share this in the chat. Okay, so if anybody wants to read it calmly, can. Okay, and this other, there are quite a lot of articles with more in detail information about the analytical model, etc. Okay, okay. Just almost there. And also one article that I think is interesting is here in Weber's workflow. There's an explanation of how can we start a project in BIMserver.center. This is another very interesting article. Let's go to share this with you. Okay. As I think this is going to take a little bit more. I'm going to, what I'm going to do is, as I have to do 2 case studies, let's leave this for the moment, and I'm going to explain the second case study, okay? The second case study is when we start in the model in Ifc Builder, and then we continue in Aquabat by side. Let's do this example really fast. Here we have this in Ifc Builder. It's a program, a modeler. In this program, we always work in 2D. We work in 2D. You see here, we can move from the different plans, but always in 2D. And then the result. If we finish this and we share to BIMserver.center, we will have the analytical model, okay? So what is the next step? The next step is in Aquabat by CYPE, we have to start a new file. Imagine like this. We can create a new file. In this case is the second case study. Save, accept, and I can link to the project. Okay, so here, if I accept, okay. As you see here, I can see perfectly the 3D, which is not only something that whenever I can make visible or invisible, whenever I press in any place, this will be in color, okay? So I can interact with the 3D. Okay, what is quite important in this program is to set the general parameters. Here in this button, I could, as I said, we have a presetting of codes, but it's also possible to create from the beginning an empty type of space, for example, with the limits, whichever limits we want to use.
It's probably easier, and in the interaction, it's probably easier to start with one that is already created and edit it. In my case, I have I'm going to use one that I did before. So for example, here, if I come to type of spaces, I have already a type of space for when I want a space to be protected. This is the limit I want to apply for the sound insulation. This is the limit for whenever there's an adjacent building, etc. Okay, but I could if I imagine that in your country you have another limit, you can copy and then make it with your own with your own limits. For example, another interesting type of space, for example, could be this one that has also sound conditioning limits for the reverberation. It could be, for example, a threshold value based on the volume, or using we could use other formula depending on your actually the code you want to use. Okay. So in this example, I will use this kind of these types of spaces that I have. And also a quite important part of this program is this, the interaction between space types that I want to apply. For example, what limit I want to apply when the receiver is a protected space and the source is also protected. In this case, I want to apply a 50 decibels from this kind of calculation, and for impact 65, for example. If I move from here, I can check the limits I want to the interaction that is going to be between the spaces. This is totally editable. Okay. The next, so that's about it. Okay, first, the first step for me always we always go from left to right. Very important. And then, so the first thing is to decide the code or the limits we want to apply. So it's first of all we can decide to use one of these already created codes, or create our own from scratch, or use one from our library. These libraries can be shared between different computers. So maybe the expert can create it and share it with the other collaborators. And then once we have done this, it's quite important to come here, design options, and decide the units, or the more or less the indices that we want to use for each calculation. Okay, so that's quite the first step. Always general parameters. Then, what is the next thing we should do? Here in model, you see here that in building we have a lot of exclamation marks, and this means that we have to take a look at that. What is happening, or what's going on here? For example, if we come to spaces, we see these red circles. This is always bad news. Something's happening. So what happens that these spaces are not defined. We have to give properties. Okay, as I said before, in the Ifc Builder we just gave a name to the spaces, but we haven't given properties. So what is the property of any residential space? In this example, it could be very, very simple. I will say define it, and I say that it's protected, as I just have one kind of space. This could be okay. If I had, for example, one for dining rooms, another for kitchen, the dining room would be protected, and the kitchen only habitable. Okay, so but this will be very fast today. So let's check protected. Imagine for the unconditional here, as you see, as I click, I can see in color the type of space. What could I do with the unconditioned spaces? This will be excluded. The corridor will be defined common area, for example. Lift will be excluded, and garage will be excluded too. For example, once I have finished the definition of a certain thing, the exclamation mark disappears. Something similar will happen with the facades. In this moment, I'm going to make a little stop because this is very, very important. One of the reasons AcouBAT by CYPE is so powerful is the fact that this includes the Aquabat Library. This includes I think about 2,000 materials or something like that. At this kind of, we're talking about that. Materials that have been characterized acoustically. So this is an enormous work, a massive work, and this is already in the program. Only by installing the program, you have access to all of this. Okay, all the characterization, acoustic characterization of these elements. This is massive, very. They have been tested. Sorry, because I'm answering a question, a very interesting question from some person that is here today. These are tested. The AcouBAT have tested all these materials, and this is quite interesting, I think. Not only we have, or here you have access to sometimes to materials from certain brands, and other times generic also, but it is massive. I mean, so much information. This is from here you can get everything. This is the general search. You could search by word, for example. Imagine you want to search if elements with seal, for example. You can see that there are doors with seals, or okay, any characteristic really that you are interested in can be searched by, okay, with this tool. But also there's the possibility of searching with using a filter. If you, for example, want something with a certain value or a range of values, minimum and maximum from one value to other. So this searching engine is quite interesting. Then even you can search by origin, and also one thing that is quite I didn't want to forget today is that although, as I said, there are more than 2,000 materials, maybe you need one that is not here. This is not closed. You can create your own. In order to do that, you just need to come to something, for example, facade construction. Imagine you want another one of these similar to this but with different values. You can click here in create new product, and you will be able to edit all the values. Okay, so and use it in other files, of course. Okay, so this is, I think it's interesting to know. Okay, first, okay, so I have shown you how to access to the total library. But if you are, for example, sorry, in facades, defining this particular facade, if you click here in base element, the program will allow you to choose from only facades. So it will be easier for you to do it right and faster. Okay, so this could be the same with anything. For example, partitions. We can choose the type of partition, the same with the script. Imagine here in something, well, let's not forget this one. For example, one by one, okay, in all of them, I have the option of creating the base elements. If there's a top lining, for example, for impact sound, or bottom lining. In the case of windows, we have so many options of so many brands of windows. Even we could choose, sorry, windows with particular characteristics. Okay. Even if we have any doubt about what is exactly, some of the elements have even a little well, all of them have a description, and sometimes even we have a drawing like this one, for example, with the more explanation. Okay. Well, this could be
Maria?
done with yes.
Yeah, we don't have so much time, so if you could show the analysis and so on, and well, to all the participants, this is just a webinar, but in case you want a demo for you or you have questions, so we will be able to do it.
Perfect. I go really fast. Sorry. In this example, only one comment. In this example, we have also the use units that have been read directly from Ifc Builder. In the other case, if we are working with OpenBIM analytical model, we need to create here the space groups, and I'm going to show you the one I did completely. And then, sorry, I wish I had half an hour more, but well, yes, you can always see the previous webinars and see them slower. Okay, about the space groups here. Okay, I created in OpenBIM analytical model space groups really easy. This is really easy and fast, and we from analytical model we just have to share. What I'm going to show you is the last in Aquabat by CYPE, the final case I did with the case study one, because I think it was interesting. This one. The one what I call the study case one is the one that comes from CYPE architecture. Okay. In this case, of course, everything was I completed all the definitions of everything. We could create a furniture, equipment, etc. This is quite important. The use units. Once this is read, we can check in all the elements what we are talking about. The connection, this is read automatically. Okay. This is why we need the analytical model. Okay, once this is finished, we can change the tab to the analysis one, and okay, here in the analysis tab, just by pressing in analyze, in this case in a couple of seconds, really, we have the final analysis. This, what I want to show you is the kind of result of information that the program gives us. This is an analysis summary which tells us how many spaces meet the requirements. For example, the protected, we can move from here. It's a kind of a summary of the analysis, total analysis. How many meet the requirements of insulation against outdoor noise? How many fail? The same with airborne noise, impact on pressure level, and always they tell us the type of spaces we are checking. What else? This is only a summary, okay? Here was the summary. We have the results one by one. So, for example, this is the one of the units is the floor one, number A. Okay, like that. I can move. This is like that. Okay, 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B. I gave names that made my life easier. Okay, so imagine we are here. We see this. This means that something is not right, is not meeting the requirements. So what do we get? Here, I can see one by one, for example, that in this space, which is protected, this is the properties I gave it, it doesn't verify the limit of 30 decibels. It is 29. So what can I do? I can press here and see the results. But they come with a lot of detail. So I can make the right decision. If I open this, I can see even with more detail the different parts that are in analysis. Okay, with the detail of the result. This is the external, okay, the insulation against outdoor noise, but the same goes with insulation against airborne noise. Here, this is the name of the space. So I can check one by one all the different calculations that the program has done. This is in the interface. I can see as I show you this one by one, okay, or everything. For example, this is the interior impacts on pressure level. If I can check what is which space has the problem. So of course I can come here and make changes in that particular space. Okay, whatever it is. For example, I decide that this needs another element. For example, a top lining, if the problem is with impact, for example. Okay. And one interesting thing, as I said, you can see this one by one. Okay, one by one, you could be checking all the different properties, etc., and the values of the results. But you can also get a results report. If we are starting, maybe it can be interesting like this, selecting only the spaces that fail. So I can have a total report of all the spaces that don't meet the requirements, and I can export it to different formats, for example, PDF, and take a look and analyze the results. Of course, once this is when I have solved all the issues, I can get the summarized report, or maybe the space can generate the spaces that do meet the requirements. I can also get the material properties, a report including the material properties. Okay, of all the materials used in this project, in this particular project, and also the materials schedule. Okay, one by one. Okay, so I think more or less I explained everything. Of course, if you have any questions, I'm available at the address support@CYPE.com. I'll write it in the chat. If you are interested in more information, don't hesitate to ask. And as a quick reminder, here in the platform in BIMserver.center, don't forget this. If you come here to the store and you write AcouBAT, here you have access. I'm going to copy that in the chat also. You can have access to a detailed information, a lot of learning resources. So I hope this has at least make you want to know more about this program, this very powerful tool, and don't hesitate to contact us if you have any question, inquiry, comment, etc. Thank you very much for your time, and